Just a few things first. Obviously, anniversary of 9/11. Thoughts and prayers always go out to the people that are affected by that. I remember that like it was yesterday. Kind of remember who you were, where you're at, what you're doing, and all the people affected. And obviously, on a happier note, obviously the gift by Larry Geese. I put out a statement, but really over the last several years to get to know him, we're kind of from the same neck of the woods. He's from up in that northwest corner by Prophetstown and Mendota, so had a connection there. He's been absolutely awesome, not just obviously the financial gift, but just the support that he's given us as a football program. He's with us a lot on the road. I know he has a personal relationship. You saw KO yesterday, and I sent him Hank Beatty's comments, and right away he said, hey, let me reach out to him. Like, he loves to engage our student athletes and mentor them. I know him and KO have got a special relationship, so it's not just the financial side. He pours his whole soul into the University of Illinois, and that's obviously been magnified several different times. So super excited for that, and then obviously this weekend to present the opportunity to play Western Michigan. From a health standpoint, Aiden Lawford is out there today. I think it's going to be a game time decision for him, but he's done really, really well. Had a big day yesterday, big jump. So I think today another jump in the right direction. We'll see where we're at Saturday. Other than that, Daniel Brown unfortunately got an injury in the second half. Had a small procedure on Tuesday. We'll miss him this week, next week. Good chance he might be back 3 weeks from now, but he will be out there this week for sure. Other than that, I think most of the guys will be back out there. Juice will not be with us. I thought there's an outside chance coming in this week, but I think he'll be back with us next week. Rosie actually practiced today, a little bit yesterday. I think he'll be able to go. What we're planning right now is see where he's at on Saturday, and then obviously it's supposed to be another hot one, so we'll see exactly where he's at on Saturday.
How did you approach this week of practice? You mentioned a little more recovery, less intensity.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are normal work days. Sunday we came in, put it to bed. Monday is always their day off by NCAA rules, so they came over. Tuesday we did a little bit heavier walk, but also a lot of good practice tempo. But Wednesday we kind of amped up a little bit, and then today was another big dig day. We kind of added a little bit more on the Thursday. Want to get out there in the heat.
How you approach those things, has that changed over the years, or is it pretty self?
Well, no, I think it's definitely changed. I think one of the things I've always kind of thought, right, is a team that has fresh legs plays fast. And when you have a veteran roster and some guys that have been there, done that, and I think the other thing I really took into account is what Saturday was, right? That was a really hot game, played a lot of meaningful reps, and to get our guys involved in that, to get them back was just as important as anything.
Coach, what do you want to see this week that would represent progress and improvement for your team?
Well, obviously, last week first half was a little bit to be desired. So I think to start off fast and play the way that we want to play, and got super respect for Western Michigan. On both sides of the ball. On offense, they roll two quarterbacks through there. Got a running back who's put up a lot of yards. On defense, they have several good players. I think number 11 is a very gifted player that you got to be accounting for him all the time. I think the growth for us is really the preparation of this week. Obviously, the results of Saturday will be a big part of that, but I've really stressed to these guys, since Western Illinois to Duke, it's what you do with the opportunity, and the opportunity isn't just game day, it's what you do during the course of the week, and then obviously in wrap-up. So kind of a steady improvement, and all that would be great.
Kind of along with that, the way you guys are handling the success, just are you having to do less reminding now than maybe before?
I'd say it's pretty, I haven't really changed who I am or what we've done. I tell our guys way before the season started, right, you're a product of your process. You're a product of how you do things. Obviously we've gotten some accolades and recognition, but that's a byproduct of the work they put in, and that didn't come without hard work, and it's not going to continue to come without hard work. So really like the demeanor of our guys. Lean on the. I think about halftime of Duke, I saw Melvin Priestley literally stand there and hit everybody on the backside or on the fanny or on their he touched every person in that locker room coming on the field, and it just speaks volumes. I know how important it is to Melvin, and that's very infectious and contagious.
But you look at some of the key contributors on both sides, offense, defensive, they're kind of lightly recruited in some instances, and development and evaluation. What goes into the evaluation process and really even a multi-year development?
Yeah, kind of comes full circle. I was sitting there today, I think we had 5 NFL representatives, and like today, the lowest, I don't think we had anybody but senior director of personnel and VPs of personnel, and we're getting a lot of high-end clientele coming through, and you kind of got to give them their story. So I sit down, I think I'm the only head coach in the country that sits down with those guys. I just give them 15 minutes before practice, because I know those players gave me what they could give me. I want to give them what I can give them, right? And a lot of them will ask questions about the recruiting process, how it was, and I'll just say, hey, I can't really explain what other people saw, but I know what we saw, right? So we tend to look at I do really like length on defense, especially on offense. I think the ability to, have their skill set be important to them, right? So a receiver, the simple thing like Hank Beatty catches the ball extremely well, right? I mean, you have a guy that can run and get open, but he can't catch it, it doesn't matter, right? So each position kind of has some core values that we really look at. I think our O-line, D-line, they got to be gritty, they got to love it. Matt Bailey was a guy that I think everybody was telling him why he couldn't be recruited. I want to tell him why he could be recruited and why he could play here. And a guy like Tanner Heckel, like 8-man football, was actually, there was a player on his football team that was signed at another Division I school, and that school didn't even look at him, right? So I think it's all in the eye of the beholder. I think undersized, under-recruited, underdeveloped are great words. I think those can change overnight. So there's a lot that goes into it. I give Pat and his staff a lot of credit for finding some of these guys.
Thad said that it was Khalil's preparation leading into Duke that maybe had everyone thinking he could break a touchdown run like that. What did you see in particular that stood out?
First Khalil is just, there's more to him, to be simple, right? Like he's physically gotten a lot better than he was a year ago. We knew when we were recruiting him out of high school, he's got shake and bake and a little bit of everything, right? He's got the ability to roll, got a good burst, got a good visual ability to kind of cut off tight blocks, right? But I would say he's just been a steady build since last spring. And then I thought last week he could see on film what these guys were, and he knew that he had some chances that if he got the ball in his hands, that was going to be there. And then like that play where he kind of lowered his head on the sideline over there, that was kind of, to me, a defining Khalil Valentine moment. He popped up. He knew he could do that. I think everybody else in the crowd didn't know it, right? So I think those little things, when a kid, there's usually a very specific point where a player does something in a big competitive environment where he shows what he knew he could do to everybody else, and then everybody else sees it, and that's very empowering.
Did you see what you wanted to see from your O-line this week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I thought the things that we needed to correct weren't necessarily the O-line. It was what we were asking those guys to do last week, and I give Bart Miller and Barry Lundy a lot of credit. We changed up the schematic scheme, what we were doing last Saturday, and made the flip at halftime, and the results are what you saw. But also, I thought, number 3, Aiden was a little bit out at that time, but I thought number 3 and number 5, we played into their skill set very, very well.
What have you seen the end of half offensively, game 1, game 2, a little bit of hiccups? What's been important in cleaning up?
Well, I think the big thing is keep it simple for Luke, right? I think as we've been around him, we tend to maybe put more on him, or he even puts more on himself. He was trying to be a little bit too perfect, and we had that conversation. But also, I think there's been a little bit of work in progress who's going to be out there with him, right? And I think we got 4 or 5 guys now in that wide receiver room that you feel really good. And, Luke's got more reps with those guys specifically in practice and getting to know them better. I mean, it sounds silly, right? But that 18-yard dig is different by 3 different guys. Even though it's an 18-yard dig, it's still going to be uniquely different to each one of those guys and the timing of it. So I think that played into it a little bit.
All good. Anything else?